There's a poem written overnight after a single glance at a woman in a morning dress at a party, and it became one of the most quoted love poems in English language. That poem is She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. He saw her on the evening of June 11th, 1814. By morning, the poem existed. Let me read it to you first. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace, which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens over her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek, and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent. A mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. 18 lines, 3 stanzas, and yet it says everything. Now, let me break it down for you because the words Byron chose are not accidental. Every single one is doing heavy lifting. He opens with She walks in beauty like the night, not like the sun, not like the fire, like the night. That's deliberate. Daylight is harsh, obvious, loud. The night is subtle, layered, mysterious. Byron is telling you from one line this woman's beauty is not the kind that screams at you, it's the kind that stays with you. Then he says, all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. He is not describing a flawless woman. He is describing a woman of contrast, shadow and light, both present perfectly, balanced. Byron understood something most people miss, that perfection is not the absence of darkness. It's darkness and light in the right proportion. He had a club foot. He was mocked for it his whole life. He became a champion swimmer, a boxer, obsessively athletic, because he knew imperfection intimately. When he wrote about the beauty of contrast, he wasn't just talking about her. Note that. Second stanza. One shade the more, one ray the less, and half impaired the nameless grace. Nameless grace. Sit with that phrase. He says there's something about her that he cannot name, cannot define, cannot reduce to list of features. And he's saying that this indefinable quality is so precise, so finely balanced that even one extra shadow, one less ray of light would have broken it entirely. That is a man paying attention. That is someone who looks at a person and sees them with extraordinary precision, which waves in every raven tress. Her dark hair or softly lightens over her face, the light playing on her skin. He's watching how light moves around her. That's not just admiration, that's reverence. Third stanza. And this is where Byron surprises you. The smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of the days in goodness spent. And after 2 stanzas of physical beauty, he pivots completely. He says everything you see on her face is just evidence of how she is on the inside. Her glow is not cosmetic, it's moral. It comes from a life lived well. And then the final 2 lines. Beautiful, impactful. Look at how he lands. A mind at peace with all below. A heart whose love is innocent. That's the destination of the entire poem. That's what he was building toward. Not her cheekbones, not her hair, her peace, her innocence. Byron, who was described by a woman he drove half mad as mad, bad, and dangerous to know, wrote the most tender tribute to moral purity you will ever read. The man who fled England in scandal, who burned through relationships, who lived in deliberate chaos, looked at one woman at one party and saw something he recognized as rare: goodness, stillness, innocence. And he went home that night and wrote it down before he lost it. That's what precise language does. He didn't say she was pretty, he didn't say she was kind. He constructed an entire argument in 18 lines that outer beauty, when it's real, is simply the face of inner character. And 210 years later, we are still quoting him. That is the power of choosing your words exactly right. And precisely why I say words become flesh and dwell among us. They resonate and reverberate even after 210 years. Speak wise.